Okay, the nutrients. So we're going to be talking about the Ningxia Red drink, okay? Okay, the next few slides, right, they are so dense with so much information that what I would suggest you to do is that you can just look at it while I talk, or if you want to, you can screenshot this slide. These are actually taken, I'm actually from Team One Drop. So these are actually from One Drop, and they've given me permission to use these slides as well. And these are really like the very dense nutritional information that you could be interested in. Some of the things I found fascinating was that, first and foremost, did you see what's in the text in the slide? It says that one shot of Ningxia Red is like consuming 150 strawberries, 260 tomatoes, 45,500 raw almonds. Da, 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 da. And it's so interesting because I mean, I also asked myself, like, okay, if the Ningxia berry is so good, right? Why don't I just eat the berries instead of taking the drink? Okay, just buy the bags of wolfberry lah. And then I noticed that, oh my god, okay, actually, if I just take that little shot glass of Ningxia Red, I'm just trying to find something on my table that shows you how big it looks like. Okay, so a serving of Ningxia Red, right? Okay, this is the tea stress rub. A serving of Ningxia Red is actually about maybe like this, about this big. Okay, so it's quite small actually. Okay, 60 ml. So imagine taking a single serving, 60 ml serving of Ningxia Red is equals to so much fruits and vegetables, broccoli, spinach, carrots, whatever. So compare that to eating all these fruits and vegetables and whatsoever, or even eating bunches of Ningxia Red wolfberry. I mean, for me, I like the easy way out. So I feel that I would actually rather take the drink and have the wolfberry occasionally as a treat or in my soup or in my tea. Okay, so that's the thing that I want to highlight about. The other thing that I also want to say is that, what is it? Okay, the antioxidant comparison, the ORAC. So if you notice on the chart on the right side, you have seen that, oh, what's the scoring of the different vegetables and fruits? And Ningxia wolfberry is hitting like 30,000, okay? So that's how high the level of antioxidants in Ningxia Red. So one of the questions I have in Philippines was that, what is actually antioxidant? Like we keep hearing it like, yeah, this drink, antioxidant, very good. Helps to protect your body, stop the aging, you look younger, and blah, blah, blah. So what is antioxidant? So here's a very layman explanation of it. So if you recall back to our secondary school chemistry, you remember something like the atoms, the molecules, right? They always need to be in a stable state. So they're always trying to find partners to stabilize. So for example, water is H2O, 2 atoms of hydrogen and 6 atoms of oxygen, if I'm not mistaken. Okay, so it's to form 8, right? To be stable. Okay, now basically in our bodies, we have molecules that are not very stable. Not stable because poor diet, stress, and no one can escape stress actually. Maybe lack of sleep, poor sleep also. Modern life stresses, modern life diet, yeah, fast-paced life, and so on and so forth. So we do have molecules in us that are not very stable. Now, what happens is that because they're not stable, right? When we have free radicals coming in, that is through the environment. It can be through things like your phone, the electromagnetic waves from your phone. It can be through processed food. So free radicals, imagine them like home wreckers. Like you imagine a couple dancing happily, on the dance floor. They're so loving, they're dancing together, maybe like a husband and wife. And then you see like this seductress, this Vincent, who's like coming in, she's wearing a short tight dress, and she wants to steal your husband from you or steal your wife from you. Okay. So a free radical is like that. What they try to do is that they actually try to break up stable molecules and make them unstable. When they're unstable, what happens is that we have a whole lot of health conditions coming up. So, I mean, there's things like cancer, autoimmune diseases, inflammation, neurological conditions, so on and so forth. So, of course, we want as much as possible for our bodies to have stable molecules. And this is also where the antioxidants from Ningxia Red comes in as well. Because it's not just coming from the goodness of the berry itself, it also has the therapeutic effects from the essential oil that's inside this drink too. Okay, I'm not going to go through like the bottom section where it talks about the benefits of Ningxia Red, because I think you can read that for yourself. But like I say, if you want to, just take a screenshot of that if you want to refer to that later on. Okay. Okay, next one. Okay, yeah, I really explained what is a free radical and what's an antioxidant. One of the interesting things that, okay, one of the things that is also explained in the slide is that, okay, so what happens when you have free radicals attacking your body? You have accelerated aging, premature aging too. Some people don't age very well. You can see that maybe like in their 40s, right, they look like years older. And that's also part of free radical damage too. I've talked about inflammation, yeah, and neurological conditions, and the way how free radicals attack and destroy our cells in our body. Okay, let's now talk about this thing called superoxide immune test, or we call that SOD. Okay, one of the interesting marketing strategy that a lot of beverage companies do is that they market to you a fruit juice and say that, hey, you know what? This fruit juice is so healthy. It has so much antioxidant. It's great for your body. Just drink it, you know? So they could say that, or maybe they market that about like food. But let's talk about drinks in particular, okay? Say you take an apple and then you know that the antioxidants of the apple, the actual fruit, is this much, okay? Now the thing is that when you press out the juice and you have that converted into apple juice, right? To be honest, because it's gone through some processing, definitely pressing of the fruit is done to push out the juice. They have probably added something to actually preserve the juice so that it doesn't turn sour immediately. They might add a sweetener as well. So the difference of the antioxidant score between the actual fruit and the drink, right, will be different, okay? But a number of food and beverage companies, they still likes to use back the original score of the actual fruit to show you that the drink is just as healthy, which is misleading actually, okay? So one of the ways how for Young Living, right, how they make sure that, wow, it does deliver on the antioxidant front is actually that they actually score it by another way. So they call this thing superoxide immune test, or I just call it SOD for short, lah, okay? So what is that? We talked earlier about free radicals. So free radicals are basically like, you know, they can't see and they wreak havoc on our bodies, right? There are many different kinds. The biggest and worst free radical, the name of it is called superoxide. Okay, that is like the worst thing that you could have in your body. So what Yang Ling did is that when they look at the Ningxia Red drink and they go like, okay, you know, so they score it in a different way. They score by how much SOD it has that can dismantle superoxide. So SOD is actually the antioxidant that is most effective at dismantling and converting superoxides, which is the worst free radical, into just harmless carbon and oxygen. So that's what they do. So basically for the SOD rating for Ningxia Red, it is extremely high. And that is a rating that you can use for a beverage because it doesn't look at the original source, which is the fruit. It looks at the final product, which is the drink. The other thing to note about is that if you have been with Young Living for quite a while, even before Ningxia Red has come out, I haven't been there for quite long, even though I'm 10 years here already. The interesting thing is that before Ningxia Red came out, right, actually the first version of it is called Berry Young Juice, okay? Berry Young Juice. Because at the time, when Gary Young finally got wolfberries into America, he actually pressed out the juice from the wolfberries and he called that the Berry Young Juice. But over time, he also noticed that, hey, what if I don't press out the juice only? What if I take the whole fruit, right, and put it into the drink as well? Which is why to now, right, if you ever hold out a Ningxia Red bottle and you let it sit at the counter for a while, you'll notice that you'll separate out into two colors. The bottom color, which is probably like about maybe 1/5 to 1/4 of the bottle, is a lighter red color. That is the pulp of the wolfberry. And then the thing, even in the photo here, in this graphic, is also showing that as well. Then the rest of it is actually the juice. So you probably shake it before you pour out, right? Or you shake your sachet before you pour out. So he was able to get technology to actually put the whole fruit into the drink, not just the juice. So you're talking about skin, the peel, the seeds, the pulp, everything goes inside. Nothing is wasted. So you're getting everything that you literally get from the actual berry into the drink as well. Okay. Right. Okay. So basically here is the listing of the minerals and vitamins. And you can also take a screenshot of this because this is what's found in the in Ningxia Red, and this is what keeps the body being able to absorb more of this for our health. Okay, so I'm not going to go through the details here, but you can take a screenshot and read it at your own time. Yeah. The other thing that I also want to say is that I don't know whether are you aware of this, but because of the way how in our world right now, the way how agriculture is done. So like for example, currently because the world population has been increasing too, right? So it has like, the people coming in, like, kids born every day and so on and so forth. So in order to keep up with the number of the population increase, right? Humans have found different ways to really produce more food, that means more crop, more meat, so on and so forth. But there are also side effects to it as well. Like for example, right, the orange that you eat right now, compared to the orange that your parents, your grandparents eat, probably the one that we eat right now is not as nutrient dense. And the reason for it is because you have things like soil absorption. So by right, when a farmer plants his crops, right, he's supposed to rotate his crops such that there are patches of land that are allowed to rest for the season. But because to keep up with the demand of agriculture, the demand of food supply for the world, right, a lot of times farmers may have to like really keep growing and growing, even as the nutrients in the soil is depleted. And when the nutrients in the soil is depleted, right, you will realize that your vegetables and fruits and even your animals don't get enough nutrients to produce a superior source of food actually for the humans. Okay, so that's the reality of it. Like one interesting case that you can go and see is that if you walk out to anywhere out there, right? I'm assuming that you're in Asia. Go and look at the soil. Healthy soil, right, doesn't look like the everyday soil that we see out there. And like right now, I'm talking to you, I'm also looking at the window outside for me because there's also like grass patches downstairs for me as well. Now, one of the things is that a lot of times when you look at soil in wherever we are at, right, you might realize that it could be very dry, it's very cracked, it doesn't look moist, it looks very like very accurate, but good healthy soil is soil that is well aerated. Like when you take out the soil and you do this, you can see it like coming out like that. It's not like one clump. Secondly, is that good soil is very dark brown and black because there has so much nutrients and minerals inside as well. But the soil these days that I noticed has been very clumpy, a light brown or a medium shade of brown. And I think it's worthwhile bringing up because I think there was one time where in Young Living, right, they actually brought in a scientist who actually studies soil. He was a Young Living. I was so fascinated when he talked to us about how the health of the soil actually also contribute to the health of the plants. And the other thing I also want to mention is that with modern agriculture, I'm not sure like how much do they do to replenish and renew the soil as well. Yeah, so some things to think about when you think about like, hey, but Faith, why can't I just save money and just just eat more vegetables and fruits lah? This is also why, because the nutrient level is so low these days that if you really want like fantastic health, like the kind of health that every morning when you wake up, you're like bouncing out of bed, you're like ready to go. You're not like, oh my God, it's another day, I'm still tired, can I have 2 more hours of sleep? The kind of health, right, is the health that you achieve through lifestyle, but also through supplementation as well. And I say that because I've been through that phase before. Like I thought that I'm healthy because I don't have any illnesses, touch wood. But when my naturopath, he really tell me like, okay, this is what you should eat, this is what you should avoid, these are the supplements that you take. I realized there's a big difference. A lot of times for many of us, right, we have like subpar health, like it's a health that you are okay lah, like there's no major pains, maybe you have a stiff neck or back from time to time, maybe you're just feeling tired here and there, or you're just having a foggy brain now and then. But you know, like when you really have optimal health, right? I'm literally talking about that you have so much energy. Like this period of time, I have so much energy. I had to go to the stadium and run a few rounds just to burn off the excess energy. And that's why I realized that how being very intentional with the food that we take, what we choose to eat, and also with supplements, right, really make a big difference in that actually. Yeah, so that's my story around that. Okay, so this is the part about the essential oils that's infused with Ningxia Red. And I will again let you take a screenshot if you want to, but you can also read through like, you know, these are the different properties that each of the essential oil has as well. So you're not just taking a fruit juice, you're also taking the benefits of the different essential oils too. And just to note that out of the 4 oils listed here, right, yuzu is never, I mean, they have done it like one time lah, but it's never available as like you can just buy the yuzu essential oil itself. It was available before in one of the exotic sets, but it was very limited time period actually. So, but you get the benefits of yuzu in Ningxia Red too. And I think one of the interesting thing I found about tangerine was that, you know that for tangerine, if you have stretch marks, right, it really helps with that too. So that's for applying. So I imagine for ingesting it, how much more potent it can be. Okay, right, next one. Okay, so again, more benefits of the drink itself. Again, I'll let you take a screenshot if you want to. Yeah, rather than me wading through the different cheap science facts about this thing. Okay, okay. Next one. Okay, so again, if you want to pair up your Ningxia Red with like different oils and supplements, these are some suggested pairings that you can do as well. I generally really like digestive system, like I really work hard on this. So I take Ningxia Red, but I also take enzymes. So this is actually like the essential enzymes for the detox zyme from Young Living itself. Yeah. Okay, next one. Okay, I'm going to like kind of like race through a little quicker around like the clinical trial. I thought it's fascinating because I realized that actually I think last year for the International Convention for Young Living, they actually put out this clinical trial. So what they did was that they actually commissioned a third party group to actually do this trial for them. So the trial was like, okay, you're getting in 160 healthy adults and you're going to check and you're going to test, okay? Like what happens when you have a group that drinks like 120 ml of Ningxia Red every morning for 2 months, and the other group that doesn't drink. Okay, so here's the results. So clinical shown to significantly reduce daily stress by 23% and improve mental well-being. And this is so important because this trial was done during the pandemic, and at that time, the whole stuff around like mental health is so important. And I'm so glad to see that Ningxia Red actually helps to improve mental health as well. And it also shows to support and promote healthy respiratory function. And for this one, I really can attest to it because my daughter, she's born with sensitive airways. My family, right, as in like myself, my sister, my daughter, my son also, we all have sensitive airways. So there's a period of time that, you know, when for Singapore, where it starts to rain, like recently it's been raining, right? She will always have her cough coming out. Like there's this cough and, you know, it's not a contagious cough, it's a allergy kind of cough. Like it comes out during cold weather, like a drop of temperature, it comes out already. So during that time, it was quite, I mean, it was okay. It wasn't like alarming. I don't have to rush her to the hospital or get her onto the path. But I realized that it sucks because the rainy weather comes most of the time during the school holidays actually. And it felt terrible to not be able to bring her out when she was not very well and coughing. And we noticed that if we don't oil her diligently, right, when she's starting to cough, it becomes worse and then it goes into like breathless coughing or like wheezing kind of cough, which I don't want because my sister and I has a history of asthma and asthmatic cough. So one thing that my husband actually told me was that why don't we just get her on Ningxia Red? So she was a little girl at the time, I think she was like 2 years old. So we gave her half a serving. So that's like 30 ml. And actually, honestly, that really helps because since then, she stopped that already. Like the lungs just got stronger. So when they say that it helps to support respiratory function, I really can attest to that. It happens for my kid. Yeah. Okay, so Ningxia Red also shows to increase physical energy levels by 35% and also reduce physical limitation by 36%. So for those who feel like you're very stiff, you have stiff aching muscles, this could be a good drink as well. Also helps to improve sleep and increase the time of sleep too. Yeah. And the last one is to show it also supports healthy inflammation response. So this has more to do with like the immune system, the way how your body keeps you healthy, the response in terms of like your joints, your bones, your muscles as well.